when people say from the streets, right? I don't like that term.
Okay.
Because to me, when you say you're from the street, it only means one thing to me. It means you got your money in the street, which means you indulge in illegal activity. But because of hip hop now, everybody says they come from the street because they lived in a rough neighborhood. But if you're not part of what made that neighborhood rough, you have no ownership with that, man. You're just a good kid or a good person going to work like most people are, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what I aspire to be at this point in my life. A good person. I pay my taxes. Uncle Sam knows he gets a lot from me if he's watching. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, and that's it. But that small percentage of people who indulge in illegal activities, who create the problems. There are some other people who are like the drug users and so on and so forth, but the ones that's shooting and killing and fighting and all the other stuff, it's a very, very small percentage. Very, very small percentage, man. In my estimation, just from what I saw in the 80s, and the 80s was perhaps one of the most violent eras in urban America.
It was.
So I don't want to hear about Chicago today, because Chicago today was everywhere in the 80s.
That's right.
And worse.
Yep.
You know, it's like I've pointed out several times to people, and it's not a boast, but New York City homicide rate peaked in 1991 with over 2,200 murders.
That's when I moved there.
That's like 6 murders a day for the entire year.
Yeah.
In one city.
It was insane.
That's insane, man.
Yeah.
And it still wasn't the murder capital, because you had places like DC,
New Orleans.
You understand? Yes.
Yeah.
So the 80s was a really rough time, man. And when I hear people talk about they from the street, to me, I take it means you made your money in the street. You made your name in the street. If you lived in, let's say, East New York, Brooklyn, which has traditionally been like the murder capital in New York, between East New York and Brownsville, you know, it doesn't mean you're a killer. If there are lots of killers around there, but if you're just a good kid, man, what are you talking about? You from the street? Yeah, you lived in East New York, but you don't know nothing and don't nobody know you, and that's a good thing.